Welcome back to Cortoberfest. I am super lucky today to have on the show the Poptimist to talk about one of my favorite films of all time. And I really do love that you specifically asked for this film
Yeah.
because I keep coming back to it as a top five. I think it's a just pure joy in film form. And that, of course, is the Brendan Fraser Mummy from 1999. So to start off, I don't know if this is a hot take at this point, but I feel like this version of the Mummy has overtaken the original Karloff version of the Mummy.
Yeah, I could definitely see that. I mean, I've watched like some of it. I didn't watch
Mhm.
all of it. I think that the thing about old horror movies is they were cutting edge for the time. You know what
Yeah,
I mean? Like the Brendan Fraser version, it's really horror action.
yeah. And then it's got that Indiana Jones sort of adventure element to
Yeah,
it. And there are, and I'm a big fan of the original OG Universal horror films, and some of them still, like the original James Whale Frankenstein films, they're still the best versions of that. And that really is the better Karloff performance than. My problem with the original Mummy is that it's just kind of dull. You've got a really cool opening sequence where it converse to what the Brendan Fraser Mummy does. It's very, very slow. He wakes up, and
yeah,
then that guy immediately goes. He's like, "Oh my god, this dead body came to
back to life.
life," and he immediately goes insane. And that part is really creepy and really cool. And then the rest of the film is just dull, and a lot. The good Universal horror films aren't dull.
Yeah.
And whereas this one, it takes off and it's just the pacing, it grabs you and then it just goes for 2 hours and it's just 2 hours of delight.
Yeah, I mean, um, I loved it when I was a kid. I still love it today. I rewatched it last night because we were going to be talking
Yeah.
about it. And I don't know if I saw the first one in theaters. I definitely saw the second one in theaters, though. The
So
Mummy Returns.
yeah, the the first one, I've got a little bit of a personal connection with that one. My childhood friend down the street, back so I was almost junior high. So this must have been like fifth, sixth grade. He moved. I was from New England. He was moving to California, and the last sort of hurrah before the family was packing up and moving to California was we went to go see the Mummy,
Nice.
and it was that will forever be ingrained
Yeah.
in my head. And I think the scene that sort of cemented how much I loved it was that first battle scene. You've got the whole thing with Imhotep of his backstory in the beginning, and then you meet up with O'Connell.
Yeah.
They have the bit, the setup and battle's going on. Loses his rifle, pulls out one set of pistols, runs out of ammo, drops them, pulls out two set of
Yeah.
pistols, and child John was like, "Oh my god, that is awesome! I want to
Yeah.
be this guy."
Yeah. He's fantastic in it. I mean, he was really a hot property for a minute. He had a lot of great movies. I always loved that movie Blast to the Past or Blast
Yeah,
from the Past. I can't remember what it was, but that was a great one. Is
yeah,
Alicia Silverstone is
yeah.
in that too,
Free
right?
Batman and Robin.
Yeah, free Batman and Robin, and is Christopher Walken in it?
Yep.
Yeah, he
Yeah.
plays his dad, but
Yeah.
he's a great actor, dude. I feel like people are finally starting to recognize. I loved him when I was a kid. He was probably my favorite actor when I was a kid.
And of course it's sort of timely. Just won Best Actor for The Whale, which I have not seen yet, but he just seems like a very genuine human being, which I love. And if I'm a producer at Universal, to be honest, I'm looking at this Best Actor win and thinking we could maybe, if we want to, we have a property with Brendan Fraser that we could bring back.
Yeah,
And I would be trying to bring back, I would be finding a good writer to make a The Mummy 4, and the script would have to be good enough to get Rachel Weisz to come back, because a big part of why it works is their interplay is just fantastic.
agreed.
And when you get to, I don't know if you saw Tomb of the Dragon Emperor, when you take her out of it, it doesn't work.
Yeah, I saw that. I definitely saw that one in theaters. I was probably in the 8th grade when that came out, so I was just trying to make
Oof,
out
I
with
feel.
girls.
Oh, I was in college when that.
Yeah.
Now I feel old. It was just such a sad. It's such a wasted opportunity because I liked the idea of the O'Connells going after mummies from other cultures because
Yeah.
it sort of gives the opportunity and sort of one of the great things about the mummy is that it sort of it can bring to light some Egyptian culture
Yeah.
things, and going to other parts of the world there's sort of an educational opportunity there that they missed by doing a really just horrendously awful movie. And just what a waste of Jet Li's time. Also, the easiest money Jet Li ever made because he's a CG terracotta statue for most of it.
Hmm.
But so favorite part, like yeah, favorite scene in this.
Uh, I've always really liked. There's two scenes. I like the scene where they're like in the plane going back
Yeah,
to what is the city called? The Hamunaptra.
Hamunaptra.
Yeah. That so I like that. Which it was funny watching this because you see like how cutting edge that CGI was at the
Yeah,
time. But the movie still holds up.
I think it absolutely
It
holds
holds
up.
up.
Yeah, and actually, funny story. This was a couple of years ago. I went on a Bumble date, and like on a profile, like I like movies, blah 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 blah, and somehow the Brendan Fraser mummy came up. She's like, "Oh, that's dated. I don't like that." And it was just like, "Oh, this ain't gonna work.
It's not gonna
This
work.
is you
Yeah.
don't need that kind of negativity in your life."
No, no. I mean, it's a classic movie. I will go as far as saying it's in my top 5 films of the 90s.
It's I would agree with that.
Yeah.
I would agree. Well, it's also, I mean, and it's just hitting me right now. Same year as The Matrix.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, that's crazy.
1999.
To
I
think
never
about.
put that. I actually never put that together. But it's like one of those movies that I will, if someone wants to watch it, I will put whatever I'm doing down
Yeah.
and watch it whenever. And it's that classic storytelling of it's classic adventure. And one of the things before you got here, I was just going through and rifling through scenes. One of the scenes I uh, consistently loved was the boat attack in the beginning, and we do this whole thing right now in modern films with the strong female character,
Uh,
and it's this heavy-handed nonsense where she has to do everything, this unrealistic, she has to do everything a guy has to do. And I look at that movie, and yes, she is an actual real strong female character. She's, you know, really smart, really intelligent, pushing for her career, and like she stabs a dude in the eye with a candle.
yeah,
So she's not afraid to like get into it, but also it doesn't run away from the fact that she's a feminine woman,
yeah.
and she's not spending the entire movie berating Brendan Fraser for being a dude.
Well, she calls him out when he needs to be called out.
Yeah,
That's what's great
yeah,
about their relationship in the movie because it starts out with him like in that prison, the
yeah,
prison cell, and they go to basically bust him out, and there's that whole hanging scene. But before that, you see him with long, scraggly hair. He's
yeah,
been in an Egyptian jail for 3 years or
yeah,
something like that. He tells her to come close, and then he kisses her,
yeah.
which would not be allowed in the movie
No,
today.
no. And what's sort of great about that? She asks, like, "Why did you sleep?" Well, I was about to be hanged. It seemed
Yeah.
like a good idea at the
Yeah.
time, which is
It's very Indiana
it's
Jones.
and it's very it's super logical. Like, I mean, just like if you think you're going to be dead in 5 minutes, like,
Yeah, go for it.
yeah, I mean, like it's not ill will. It's just like I think I'm going to die.
Yeah.
Which it's fine. Like, so Indiana Jones versus Rick O'Connell. This is interesting to me because
They're similar but different. I feel like Rick O'Connell is more of a cowboy.
yeah,
And he does more like shoot 'em up cowboy crazy stuff.
Yeah.
Indy is more strategic.
yeah, like he's to an extent because he does have the "I'm making this up as I go" bit,
Yeah.
Indiana Jones. But I was just gonna say, I was thinking about this, sort of thinking about things to talk about, and what I love about Rick O'Connell, and I love both of them, and Indiana Jones is the greatest of all time. I love him to pieces. O'Connell has sort of an older brother vibe about him.
Yeah.
Like he's got the cool, he does the guns, he does the action, but he's also sort of a goof
Yeah.
in a lot of ways.
Totally.
And there's like you can picture him, and it's particularly in the way that he interacts with Jonathan, Evie's brother.
Yeah.
It's this sort of
They're
fraternal,
goofing on each other.
yeah,
Yeah.
and I kind of love it. And in a way, I think you could argue that O'Connell is a little more down to earth than Indiana Jones is, because Indiana Jones is
He's a
like the
college
perfect
professor.
dude. Yeah, like Indiana Jones
He's
has
an
got
academic.
he's got everything. He's smart. He's strong. He's charming. He's sort of he's the American James Bond.
Yeah.
Is what he is.
Yeah, totally, 100%. Absolutely.
And which I believe Spielberg when they went about doing Last Crusade, one of the reasons he went after Sean Connery was he was in Raiders trying to do a sort of James Bond-esque character, and who better to go to than the OG James Bond,
Henry Sr.
Yeah. That you want to see a man cry, it's that movie.
Yeah. Dude, The Last Crusade, I just rewatched that.
Yeah, it's so good.
It's so good. Temple of Doom is probably my favorite, though, out of
Nice.
Indiana Jones.
Nice. Temple of Doom gets a bad rap. Like
first PG-13 movie.
Yeah. And I just there are segments of it where it maybe drags a little bit, but the parts of it that are good are really good, and it has that down to earth vibe, and you get to Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, and there's just a ton of CGI crap in it, and you can for some reason it all comes off as very fakey fake.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it's just the 20-year gap or what, but Temple of Doom is a lot of fun.
Well, it's another difference I feel between like Rick O'Connell and Indiana Jones. Rick O'Connell, it was like I was kind of saying earlier, he just feels more like an American cowboy. You know what I mean? Like you were talking about how Indiana Jones is he's more suave in a way, kind of like that James Bond. But that's what I love about like his quick wit and all of that, because Indy's always very serious. He doesn't ever smile.
Yeah.
But Rick O'Connell, he smiles, he laughs. But Brendan Fraser, he's great as Rick O'Connell.
Yeah. Do you remember oh God, George of the Jungle?
Of course. Yeah.
Like I haven't seen that. I got to go back and revisit that one now, because I remember it's one of those ones I'm a little nervous to go back and revisit, because I loved it as a kid, and it's one of those, as an adult, am I going to watch this?
Yeah.
And is it going to be like, oh my God, this was awful. What did I put my parents through watching this 5,000 times? But I mean, that was like Thomas Hayden Church, and I keep forgetting that Leslie Mann from
Mrs. 40. Yeah, she is in that.
She was the
Judd Apatow's wife.
Yeah, Judd Apatow's wife is the girlfriend of George of the Jungle.
Yeah.
But so you saw most of the original film, like we'd say maybe first third.
Of which one? Of the Universal Boris
classic
one?
Yeah.
I would probably say like first half. But it did feel a little bit slow.
So now, what would you say? Because I'll circle back to that in a bit, but The Mummy versus Mummy Returns, because I think The Mummy, it's a legit amazing, like it out and out 5 stars. It's a classic. I also kind of love The Mummy Returns.
I love The Mummy Returns.
Knowing exactly what it is.
Well, the great thing about it is that it knows it's a big summer blockbuster sequel. So it's like they raised the bar. They brought in, and it's been years since I've seen The Mummy Returns. I'm going to rewatch it.
Yeah, it's worth it.
Yeah, but they bring in Imhotep's girlfriend, which they had her in the first movie. But she has more of like a main role in this one. They bring in the Scorpion King, aka The Rock. This was The Rock's first movie.
Yeah, and it's fun, and a lot of people rag on the CG at the end of it as being bad, but you kind of have to get through. to end up where we're at now
Yeah.
in regards to technology, you got to go through
Well,
that.
it is dated, but I feel like the writing for the movie, both movies, is so good
Yeah,
that's what kind of sets it
yeah,
apart, because it is like it's supposed to be a big Hollywood like summer blockbuster, but it's got a lot of heart and it's got balls.
yeah. And what's interesting on that front? So Jerry Goldsmith did the score for the first one,
Mm-hmm.
and it's great. And I think he taps into a lot of he does a good job of tapping into horror, but also adventure.
Yeah.
The Mummy Returns was Alan Silvestri, and if you listen to that score, I think you can hear a lot of inspirations for. I mean, he went on to do Captain America and the Avengers.
Oh, okay.
And so you can hear a lot of sort of proto Marvel sounds in that soundtrack, which is really quite cool.
Yeah, I'll have to go back and rewatch the film to see what I think of it. I if I'm remembering correctly, there really wasn't that much of a horror element in The Mummy Returns. It was more straight adventure film.
Yeah, and that is why I do think that The Mummy is stronger than The Mummy Returns, because it does remember that its roots are universal horror. And The Mummy isn't overtly scary, but if you're like junior high, the way
It'll spook you. There's a couple jump scare or two in the movie.
When the one American guy turns around, my eyes.
Yeah.
He took my eyes.
Yeah.
That's if you're a kid, that's scary. Which it's sort of a fun. I think it's a fun entry level film into the genre.
It's not too scary.
Yeah, it'll creep you out. You'll be a little scared, but it's not gonna traumatize you.
Yeah, totally.
Which is it's like you're not gonna show your kid Saw. Don't show your kid Saw.
Yeah, unless you want them to be a serial killer.
Unless you want them to be a serial killer, don't do it. And I liked that first Saw film.
Well, it was different for the time. Again, like now, like modern horror, I feel like takes so much from that first Saw movie.
Yeah.
But you got to think back to like when it was released, because it was released kind of in our era. We're like same generation.
Yeah.
We're at the bookends of it.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's remembering when I'm going back and watching old movies, remembering that, because it's like at the time, dude, like I had a VHS of The Mummy. I watched that a million times.
Yeah.
I would probably say my second favorite scene in the movie is when they're back in Cairo, I think.
Yeah.
And there's all those guys going Emotep, Emotep.
Yeah.
I like that.
And like I think that there are all these great character moments, and that's sort of, and it's not just Brendan Fraser and Rachel Weisz. The actor who plays
The whole
Jonathan,
cast is good.
Like the trio, that trio, and for that specific scene, he gets out there and he like does that, just like I'm just gonna.
Oh yeah, where he walks, yeah,
and he just sort of like he fakes it until he can go get the car.
Yeah,
which is he's this goofball comic side character, but they do give him at least a little bit of intelligence to sort of fake his way through a scenario and then move along to what he's got to do. And then I feel like I should bring up what's the actor's name? Ardith Bay, which he's not named in. He gets his name in Mummy Returns.
Is it the guy who's like the Pharaoh's?
Oded Fair. The young the Magi.
Is that the guy that's like the Pharaoh's guardman?
It's
the Pharaoh's whatever.
We told you to leave.
Yeah,
you refused.
Yeah.
Now you've doomed us all.
Yeah.
Like that guy. Like
and he's great in The Mummy Returns too. He has a bigger role.
That was. I mean, it was for Mummy Returns. That was a really sort of good throwback to the original film, where Imhotep in the original Karloff version, basically the fake name he's giving to people is Ardith Bay, and that's how the normies know him.
Oh, okay, that's cool.
This is the name I'm giving you, but it's basically his fake name.
Oh, okay.
So it was a nice throwback, and another sort of nice throwback, and it's sort of one of the reasons why I think Mummy Returns works as a sequel is that it does revisit the original. The original has sort of this thing where Imhotep's trying to bring back his girlfriend, but what he doesn't actually realize that his girlfriend's soul ended up in the girl that is the actress from the original film. So Mummy Returns sort of revisits that in an interesting way, where they, as you said before, on Sinaman comes back,
Yeah.
and she's reincarnated in presumably this other person. So it sort of correlates a little bit in what the series is saying about the soul, and I guess, and so it goes back to the source material, I guess,
Yeah.
which is really, and I think improves on the source material. Frankly, it's just the original is so boring. It's so boring.
Yeah.
So I gotta ask, Tom Cruise Mummy, did you see it?
I haven't seen it. I know that they were at one time they were planning on doing like a Universal monster movies cinema, like a cinematic universe.
Yeah, they wanted to do the whole MCU, but with Universal, and it was an amazing catastrophe because it did not. It basically blew up on the launch pad. It is just an abysmal movie, but we did get the Tom Cruise mummy scream out of it. Which are you familiar with that story?
No.
So I don't know how this happened, but somebody leaked the trailer onto YouTube without music, so it's just dialogue and sound effects. And there's that weird, like the plane is going down, and he's got that weird like it's just this, but it's almost like it's Wilhelm scream-esque.
Yeah,
and
totally.
Sort of, so people took that, and the internet had a lot of fun with it, and that's where the internet can be a good thing.
Yeah.
But to just circle back to 1999 Mummy, that was a good, the 90s were a good decade for film.
Yeah, well, there was a kind of a film renaissance in the 90s, from everything from big Hollywood action movies to indie films.
Yeah,
because you got to think, like, that was the decade of Kevin Smith and Clerks, and films like small budget like that.
And what was, I think, great, limited, and I actually think, weird, maybe strange tangent, I think The Rock is a good sort of barometer for, you look at the movie The Rock, not the actor The Rock.
Yeah. Starring Nicolas Cage.
And directed by Michael Bay. Limitations were good for Michael Bay when he couldn't CG the crap out of everything.
Yeah.
Like that movie, there was some cute computer stuff in it, but you actually really had to think about what you were doing, because you couldn't just pretend like you could finish it in post. You actually had to think through shots, and I don't think we do that anymore.
No, because everything has changed now. Like, speaking from musical terms, like a lot of music that gets made today, everything you can perfect the performance.
Yeah.
Which there's something to be said for not being able to perfect something.
Yeah.
And just put it out there. Because if you give the artist a chance to perfect and perfect and perfect, they will. To where it loses its humanity.
Well, and that's where, I mean, like, you can look at George Lucas. The man likes to tinker. And at some point you can tinker something into being awful. Mm-hmm. And also, did you see, and just on that note, did you see the Beauty and the Beast live action remake?
No.
Not worth your time.
Yeah.
I don't recommend it. But Emma Watson is auto-tuned to pieces. Now, she sounds like she probably could, with a little bit of coaching, she probably could sing those songs quite well, but what it feels like is that, oh, that's good enough. We'll we'll use the computer and get it to where you're on pitch and whatnot.
Yeah, you can always tell. I mean, technology is going to get to a point though to where you can't tell.
Which is a little. I think it's a little. I think it's a little creepy.
It is a little creepy. Like for me, I'm not entirely against doing things digitally with music to a point.
Yeah.
But I don't think you should be able to change or alter your performance unless it's for something artistic, like an artistic reason for doing it.
Yeah.
Because you can edit like a guitar tone all day long and you can make it sound like, I don't know, birds or whatever. Like whatever you want. And it's like, okay, if you're gonna do that's fine. But I think if you have the tools and the resources to do it all natural, just go for it. Let it rip.
Yeah, I mean, there's just something about knowing that it's real is, and going back to Brendan Fraser Mummy, that you get to the end and they're fighting the there is a good combination of practical effects with people in creature makeup.
Well, when their hands are coming out from the ground, like you can tell that's real.
Yeah, and then even the like real the mummy, the soldier mummies with the swords.
Yeah,
a good chunk of those are definitely men in suits.
Yeah,
and there's computers mixed in, of course, but
because they're doing the screams and they're opening their faces up super high.
But it is a blend, and I think that's what we're missing right now. Is we're missing that blend of computers can bring wonderful things to films, but you need to be. And that's the other thing about the '90s. I think they were a little afraid of computers. There was this untapped potential.
It was a new technology.
Yeah, we don't know what it can do. Like you go back to Jurassic Park, and that opened up this whole new world. But what can we? Because it can look like Jurassic Park, but it can also look terrible.
Yeah,
like,
totally.
I don't know if you there are some. Do you remember the Matt LeBlanc Lost in Space?
I do. Yeah, that's another forgotten about movie.
Yeah, there's some shoddy CG in that movie.
Yeah.
Although that movie, I don't know that movie is as awful as that. It's been a while since I've watched it. I don't remember it being as bad as its reputation lends it.
Well, I think Matt LeBlanc, I don't buy him as an action star. You know what I mean? I think that's probably a big part of it. Because you, like, even something like that, like Brendan Fraser or like anybody else would have been perfect for that role that he played. Because he kind of played that role.
Yeah.
But yeah.
That's actually, it's an interesting comparison because The Mummy is, when you look at what he did before The Mummy, you wouldn't peg him Brendan Fraser as an action star.
That's true.
I mean, you had George of the Jungle. I mean, there's action in it, but it was like outright goofball comedy.
Totally.
And then
was Blast from the Past out yet?
I don't think Blast from the Past was out yet. I think Blast from the Past was 1997, if my memory serves me
but
correctly.
the Mummy came out in 99.
Yeah, so Blast from the Past would have been right before.
Yeah.
So he was kind of known for. I mean, you had George of the Jungle. He was in Encino Man, which was another comedy.
Airheads.
I didn't see Airheads actually.
Yeah, so Airheads. It's been a long time since I've seen this, but it's Steve Buscemi, Adam Sandler, and Brendan Fraser. They're a metal band, and they break into a radio station and take it over and make the DJ like play their song. And it's a whole thing, a whole standoff.
See that like those are concepts that I don't think you could get put into movies.
No, not in a post 9/11 world.
Yeah. I mean, there's that, and just nobody takes a chance on, because that's such a wild, weird, interesting idea. You're not going to take, if you're a studio, they just don't take the chance on that stuff anymore.
Well, it's amazing to me when movies like S. Craig Zoller's films get made, because I'm a big S. Craig fan. Like, you look on paper, Dragged Across Concrete, it's a long, slow movie. It's very well written. It's a slow burn, and that's that's what I like about it.
Well, so here's so on that front, Dragged Across Concrete or Bone Tomahawk. I mean, they're both Both great.
Definitely dragged for me.
I love dragged
Yeah.
across. Well, although I gotta say, Bone Tomahawk was the most awkward experience I ever had watching because I watched it with my mom and dad,
Yeah,
and
that's tough.
you get to the very end, and it's basically that very end. And in terms of practical effects,
Yeah,
I mean, and
it's
both
graphic.
and I mean both. It's super graphic, and Dragged Across Concrete has that as well. And also, Dragged Across Concrete reminded me how good Mel Gibson
Oh yeah,
is,
he's
and
great in it.
it's a shame that we don't have more Mel Gibson.
Hey, Passion
now.
of the Christ too. It's coming.
It's right. He is. It's I just after Family Guy, that's sort of wild that they'd go there.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if you remember that whole that whole middle. It was one of the sort of callbacks to it's like Passion of the Christ 2 with Chris Tucker.
No, I don't
No,
remember this.
there's basically it's a one of those. This is worse than the time, like that. One of
Oh
those
yeah,
gags. And
totally.
it's Passion of the Christ 2, and it's Jesus comes back in modern day, and it's like Rush Hour, where it's a buddy cop film, and he's with Chris Tucker.
Oh man,
and it's a gun wielding Jesus doing just crazy stuff.
Rush Hour, another great '90s film.
Rush Hour is really it's good, and it's like one of those like I mean Brett Ratner turned out to be a tool bag, but
Yeah.
I mean it was like when he was behind the camera of doing something like Rush Hour that was just a fun action film. He was good, and then like Jackie Chan and Chris Tucker were great.
Yeah, they were
And I
great.
guess apparently they are talking about a Rush Hour 4.
I will go opening night.
Yeah, I'm absolutely down. I'm absolutely down for that. And just, again, anything with Jackie Chan, and that's where did you see The Foreigner
No.
with Pierce Brosnan? It's Pierce Brosnan and Jackie Chan, and it actually is it is a good movie, but what they trailers sell it as is Taken with Jackie Chan. So it's very much playing to you remember how much you love Jackie Chan. It plays into that. The movie is more Pierce Brosnan and Irish politics than it is Jackie Chan. So on that level, if you're expecting Taken with Jackie Chan, that's not what the film is, and you're going to be disappointed. But as a film, it's a really interesting concept. Basically, it's Jackie Chan is visiting his daughter in England. Pierce Brosnan is former IRA, so he's former IRA terrorist. There's a bomb that goes off, kills Jackie Chan's daughter, and then he's seeking vengeance for it. And Pierce Brosnan is implicated, and he's trying to distance himself from sort of the IRA ties. And so it's a lot of that, and I haven't seen it. I only saw it the one time. It's a decent film. It just wasn't the film they sold.
Yeah,
but if they happy to have Rush Hour 4, and and again, it's like I feel like Chris Tucker gets poked fun at a lot as having sort of the annoying voice, but I mean in that movie
those are pretty much that, and the Friday movies are the only movies he does. It's like every 10 years he comes out of retirement to do one movie.
What's the and he was in Bruce Willis sci-fi movie.
Oh yeah, the Fifth Element.
The Fifth Element. That's the other. He's sort of known as sort of a Jar Jar Binks type.
Yeah, he's a loud mouth in that as well.
And that was I was in 90s.
Yeah,
Gary Oldman in the 90s. Man,
unstoppable.
I feel like he took on a lot of weird stuff.
True Romance.
Yeah,
he was great in that.
Yeah, and it's like Fifth Element. He's playing this weird. Air Force One was 97. He was the villain in that.
Yep, Harrison Ford.
Yeah, that. And so for 90s, favorite Die Hard on a Thing movie.
What is it?
If you had to pick a Die Hard on a like I said, like Speed is Die Hard on a bus. Executive Decision, Die Hard on a plane. Air Force One was essentially Die Hard on the president's plane.
Yeah. Okay.
And that was a whole. I mean, that was a whole genre.
Con Air. I mean,
Con Air's
yeah. I mean, you can't go wrong with Nicolas Cage.
No, it is my goal in life to watch every Nicolas Cage movie.
Yeah.
Did you see with Pedro, the one he just did, Pedro Pascal,
The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent. It was so fantastic.
What I loved about that movie is it's when he's retiring from acting at the beginning, and he has this very heartfelt speech about acting, and it's one of these one of the oldest professions in the world, and I really felt like Nicolas Cage actually in his heart feels that.
There was a lot of heart in the movie, and of course the whole thing, it's like Nicolas Cage is crazy, he does all this crazy stuff, and that was the point of the movie, but you can tell it's like lampooning kind of like the way that the world sees him.
Yeah.
He's legitimately a great actor.
Yeah. I'm like one of my, I would say, what I'm really looking forward to this year, Renfield.
Oh, 100%.
Which is like that's gonna be fun.
That's gonna be a good theater one. You know what I actually just saw? I saw Operation Fortune.
How was that?
It was okay.
It was all right.
Yeah, it's worth. Don't go to the theater to see it. It's worth streaming. I mean, you can't go wrong anytime it's Guy Ritchie and Jason Statham. Yeah. Like, I will never get tired of watching A, Jason Statham like karate chop people, and then B, headshot them. Yeah, it's great. It's entertaining.
Yeah. So I mean, John Wick 4 coming soon. Yeah. So that's
there's actually been a lot of like good movie experiences that I've had going to the theater this year.
Nice. I think I'm bullish on movies this year. Like so far it's been good.
Well, there hasn't been of course there's the big Hollywood franchise movies, but I mean, two movies that we've seen together in the theater. The first one was Megan, and the other one was Cocaine Bear.
Yeah,
and those were both original ideas.
They were original. They were fun. Yeah, it's just, and it just seems like there's more. It feels like there's more of that will be coming.
Well, both those movies also performed well.
Yeah.
Too.
Yeah, and like the thing is, like Ant-Man 3 did not perform so well.
Yeah. I think people are getting tired of the Marvel stuff.
Yeah. And like the thing with Marvel right now is I think they're asking a lot of the viewer to do like 30 movies worth of homework plus however many Disney Plus shows they put out, and your average movie viewer just wants to go see a film.
Well, what was great about it, I think, in the beginning was that you could just look for Easter eggs. And it was like, this ties into this way. Now it's required of you to be able to be caught up, because pretty much the only Marvel movies that I'll continue to see in the theater, it's the Spider-Man movies. Whenever they release a Tom Holland Spider-Man, I'll go to the theater for that.
And that was, I mean, No Way Home was one of there were two movies that really proved that post-pandemic that people will go to films, and that was No Way Home and Top Gun.
Oh yeah.
And I'm salty about Top Gun not getting Best Picture.
Top Gun was fantastic.
It was an amazing movie, and there's a video somewhere out there of Spielberg and Tom Cruise at an event, and Spielberg is basically like, dude, you don't understand, Top Gun like saved movie theaters.
Yeah.
Like it
Well,
it really
again,
did.
It was a movie that was meant to be a movie. You know what I mean? There was no big political statement.
Yeah.
It was like, this is, and that's when you watch the old films, like even going back to the Mummy, the 1999 Mummy, it's a movie, it's entertainment, it's a popcorn movie, and there's nothing wrong with that. And like even the Marvel movies, I feel like they're trying to make statements.
They're outright. Well, I guess apparently, and I haven't seen it yet. And at this point, I don't know that I care to. Like Ant-Man, I guess had Michael Douglas outright endorsing socialism, and it's like this is an Ant-Man movie. Like the viewer has a day-to-day life. They don't want to think about this when they go to their comic book movie.
Yeah, it's the whole point is to is to escape.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I don't know. I feel like Hollywood has been out of touch for so long, but taking it back to just those movies that I was talking about, it was even nice to see Operation Fortune in the theater. I didn't think it was like a great film. The other film that came out, it was maybe last year, the Guy Ritchie movie with Jason Statham. What was it?
Was it The Gentleman?
Well, maybe it was the year before. Man of Wrath, Wrath of Man.
Wrath of Man.
That was
pretty good. That one was good.
Fantastic.
That one was good. He's got like Guy Ritchie's good. He's got, and I believe he's the one directed. There's a Jake Gyllenhaal movie coming out this year. The title is escaping me, but basically Jake Gyllenhaal is a soldier, and he's going into Afghanistan to save his interpreter. Basically, they've been pulled out.
Okay.
And basically the Taliban is going to be after his interpreter, and it's
like, interesting.
Okay. I cannot leave this guy behind. This is
Guy Ritchie.
This is Guy Ritchie.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure it's.
Is the trailer out?
The trailer is out. It was in. What did I go see? Scream 6 is what I saw last.
How was
week.
It good?
Scream 6 is it's fine. It was fine. There was a category that I have of it was fine. I was really hoping the end would be more. The end was sort of same old. It didn't. The twists were not there that I was hoping that.
Did you already figure out who the killer was by the time it rolled around?
No. It's just they sort of tease that they're going to do something different, and then
it was not.
And then they circle back to, oh yeah, no, the killer is exactly who you'd think it was. So, and that doesn't necessarily make it bad. It just I was expecting more. It was a step up from Scream 5, which was, it's sort of lost a little bit of that Wes Craven magic, and it's at a point where I think the franchise is taking itself maybe a little bit more seriously than it needs to be taking itself. Because it was always, those original 4 films were tongue in cheek.
Yeah. So absolutely.
And the fourth one was great. And really, they probably should have ended with the fourth one.
How is Jenna Ortega in it?
She's great.
Is she the lead now?
She's not the lead. She's sort of the co-lead.
Okay.
I don't know that it's the slightly older. The one playing her older sister is the lead.
Okay.
But Jenna Ortega is the one who really shined from an acting perspective, and she's
the hottest commodity in Hollywood right now. As far as female actresses, because she did the Wednesday,
which I haven't now because now I want to watch that show.
I haven't seen it. I've heard it's good. She's also been cast as Winona Ryder's daughter in Beetlejuice 2.
I just read that. I don't know how I feel about Beetlejuice 2.
I'm all for it, dude. 100%.
Have they confirmed Michael Keaton? I assume they've confirmed
Michael Keaton and Tim Burton.
Oh, okay. All right. If they're both coming back.
They're coming back and Winona's coming back.
Yeah.
So
and
I'm for it.
I'm gonna give Tim the fact that Tim Burton was like, screw Disney, I'm not going back there. I'm willing to give him a shot of okay, so he's not drinking the corporate Kool-Aid.
No, he's not. But he never really has either.
No.
Because originally there was supposed to be a third Batman film with him and Michael Keaton.
Yeah.
That ended up not happening because it wasn't. They said the second film, it's so funny, Batman Returns. Think of it in today's standards. There was a lot of protests that it was too violent and too dark. And you look at everything today.
It's it's not violent at all. Well, and this is where so I'm currently going through Picard season 3 right now. I would say the F-bomb at this point means nothing.
Yeah.
When you're dropping F-bombs in Star Trek, it doesn't mean it. It's lost all its meaning.
Yeah.
It feels gross like that. And it's I'm not opposed to. I curse all the time, probably way more than I should, but I don't want that in my Star Trek.
Yeah.
Star Trek is really
unless Quentin Tarantino does it.
if Quentin Tarantino does it, all bets are off. Let's see how this. Let's ride this ride.
Yeah, I'm all for Beetlejuice too, because they wouldn't be coming back unless they had something cool.
Yeah,
I think.
Let's see. I'm interested to see where that goes.
Well, I think what's gonna happen is Beetlejuice is gonna go after Lydia's daughter in the movie, and he's gonna try and marry her the way he tried to marry Lydia in the original.
And it'll be interesting to see how does a kid like Lydia, what is she like
as an adult,
as
a mom?
Yeah, as an adult, as a mom. That there is narrative potential there.
Are they gonna bring back Alec Baldwin and Gina Davis?
Oh, no. There's a better chance they'll bring back Gina Davis than Alec Baldwin.
Yeah.
I don't see Alec Baldwin.
You know what, dude? Back. Despite him murdering someone, he's a great actor.
He is a great actor.
He's fantastic.
And I don't think he intended, but also it was I think flagrant irresponsibility.
Yeah,
like 100%. I don't think he did not set out.
It was
kill
preventable.
A person. Yeah, that was absolutely preventable, and that's why you got to respect. Like, firearms are a tool you need to respect, and when you don't treat them with respect, that's when things like that happen.
He would have been a great Batman though in the 90s. He would have been a good Batman.
Yeah, if Michael Keaton hadn't already beaten him to it.
Yeah.
Like, I actually, you know what? I recently watched Patriot Games, and in the Jack Ryan series, I've seen Hunt for Red October, and Patriot Games is the only other one I've seen all the way through at this point. I think Alec Baldwin a better Jack Ryan than Harrison Ford.
Oh,
I would argue.
Okay.
Yeah. It's almost like I think Harrison Ford was too cool for the role.
Yeah.
I think Alec Baldwin had sort of this quirky nerd factor that Harrison Ford doesn't have. And I haven't seen Clear and Present Danger yet, so
is that a Harrison Ford one?
Yeah, there were two.
Okay.
There was Patriot Games and then Clear and Present Danger. Clear and Present Danger is supposed to be the better of the two that Harrison Ford did, and then there was the Ben Affleck one, which I haven't seen.
That's the one where there's like a bomb at the stadium, right?
I believe so.
The nuclear
that is
bomb.
correct.
I vaguely remember that.
Yeah, and then Chris Pine did one that basically everybody has forgotten that got made, and now Krasinski's doing the Amazon Prime show.
Yeah. I haven't seen the Amazon Prime show, but John Krasinski, he's a great actor.
He's good. A Quiet Place 1 and 2 were really, really
I didn't
good.
see the second one. Saw the first one in the theater, blown away by it. The sound was amazing.
The second one, you're gonna love the second one because it's maintains the quality, and then Cillian Murphy is added to the cast, and he's phenomenally good, and just the editorial on it's just edge of your seat.
Yeah,
edge of your seat. Good.
It's good, like suspense.
Yeah,
suspense horror. Speaking of Cillian Murphy, Oppenheimer.
That's
going to be amazing.
Good.
Yeah, I'm super pumped for that. That's
I'm
another
excited.
movie. I think there's going to be a lot of good movies this year.
Yeah, it's weird because I feel like we've been in such a dry spell for 2 years.
Yeah,
and now it finally looks like there's like Oppenheimer. I'm looking forward to. Super Mario Brothers of all things.
Yeah, it looks pretty good. It looks like a fun movie.
I'm stoked for that one. We'll see how Dial of Destiny is. That is a coin toss as to whether that.
I'm excited, dude. Either way, it's Indiana Jones. Okay, let me ask you this: The Flash, because I feel split on it.
I was gonna, because you brought up Tim Burton's Batman. I want to see Michael Keaton as Batman badly. I just really don't want to pay money for a movie that Ezra Miller is in. I haven't made up my mind yet. I'm like really like.
I'm going. Yeah. I'm gonna go see it. I mean, he is not a good human being, and honestly, it's like everybody when the trailer dropped, everybody was like he got a lot of backlash.
Yeah,
like Ezra Miller did, but it was. I remember during 2020 when that video came out of him choking that girl and
Yeah.
no one said anything. But I was on the F. Ezra Miller train pretty
Yeah.
hard.
Yeah.
Like I was leading the charge on
It's
that.
like, I hope he gets the help that he needs to get. It's just I'm probably gonna crack and see it.
Yeah.
What I'll probably do is I will skip weekend one.
Yeah.
I won't contribute to
And
the
in silent
opening.
protest.
In silent protest, I will skip, which is kind of what I'm doing with Marvel right now.
Yeah.
I won't go to the first weekend. I'll wait 2 or 3 weeks and then go. Although, like, it's been 2 or 3 weeks since Ant-Man, I still haven't gone, and
Yeah.
it's like one of those. I'm really questioning how much do I even care
Yeah.
anymore.
Well,
And
a lot of people felt the same way about Ant-Man 3.
yeah, like it's just the drop off was something like 70% from weekend 1 to 2.
Yeah, it was Cocaine Bear the next weekend, right?
I think I need to go check the numbers.
It was pretty close.
It like I think Ant-Man might have edged it out a little bit, but it almost got beat by Cocaine Bear.
Yeah.
And then the number 3, which well overperformed, and actually it was a pretty good movie, was Jesus Revolution.
Yeah.
Was number 3.
Yeah.
It's interesting because it's hard to doing a Christian themed movie is very often they take a 50-pound Bible and just crack you in the head.
I'm
with
not
it.
into Christian themed movies. I will say though, one that was like had those themes in it. It was that Mel Gibson movie about World War II.
Oh, Heartbreak! Sorry, I cut you off.
No, I can't remember what was it called.
Heartbreak. Hacksaw Ridge.
Hacksaw Ridge. That was a phenomenal movie. It's a faith-based movie.
It's on my shelf. It's one of those DVDs I bought. It's like, oh, it was like discounted, and I haven't put it on yet. I need to.
It's good.
Yeah,
Vince Vaughn is great in it too.
Vince Vaughn's in it.
Yeah, Vince Vaughn is in it.
That's one of the most hysterical award show moments of all time was when they stuck. I don't know if this was late Bush era or Obama era, but they put Mel Gibson and Vince Vaughn at the same table, and they're both pretty well known as being to the right of center. And they kept cutting away. There was some really political speech that someone was given, and they kept cutting away to their table.
To them
and
just
they're just
reacting.
and it's just the cutaways were beautiful, similar to when Ricky Gervais did the Golden Globes,
and everybody was just
the cutaways were just like Ricky Gervais is the only one who should ever host awards shows, because basically it should be somebody who's just roasting the rich and famous.
Yeah, absolutely, 100%.
And it's like good for you'd never. I don't think he'd ever do it again.
No, he won't.
I think that was his mic drop moment.
Yeah.
and he just called it a day.
Yeah.
But I would actually. It's an interesting movie to recommend, Jesus Revolution, just because I thought it was very good. I think it depends on your tolerance level for.
I have low tolerance.
Yeah,
for
I mean,
movies.
if faith-based movies are really not your thing, it's not gonna do it for you. Like I'm not super religious. I grew up. I was a Catholic school kid, so like it's there. It's in my heart there, and so as someone who's sort of like in the middle, who leans I want to believe there's something. It did something for me, but if it's really not your thing, then it's not your thing, and you shouldn't be forced to watch anything.
Yeah, no, for sure.
It's like I can recommend it. It's a solidly made film. If it's not your thing, it's not your thing.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. But did you see Everything Everywhere All at Once?
No, I still haven't seen it yet. I hear it's good.
It's good. It's very wacky.
Yeah. I just have a hard time once I see something getting a lot of critical praise, because I don't know if it's actually going to be good or not.
Yeah, I do think it's actually good. Do I believe it should have gotten Best Picture? I do not. But a lot of the stuff that it did get, Michelle Yeoh, I think, earned it. Ki Hui Kwan, Best
Short Round.
Short Round. Yeah, Just like I will not call him just short. I won't call him Short Round. I won't call him Short Round. definitely, he's the highlight. I would say he's the highlight of the film.
Okay, cool.
He's just.
I'll give it a chance. I'm
delightful.
open to stuff being good.
It's weird. It's sort of like it's dealing with a lot of similar things that Doctor Strange 2 wanted to deal with, except smart people made it rather than
Yeah.
I I I have a Disney grudge at the moment.
No,
but
I understand. I totally get the Disney grudge. I mean, they're very myopic in a lot of what they do. The only credit I can give them is just the Star Wars TV shows, because those are
Yeah.
fantastic. But they're letting people take it over. It's so funny because like Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau, they very much love Star Wars, and I've watched the Clone Wars, which
Yeah.
Dave Filoni did, and it's pretty good.
Yeah.
It's for a kids TV show.
Yeah.
It's pretty good. And then Andor is tonally the total opposite of everything.
Yeah.
I would even say on Disney Plus. It's really like a political thriller, and
Yeah.
that's a slow burn.
I mean that's sort of because I did watch the first 3 episodes, and I love that there were real sets. I love that it was a slow burn, but it was also such a slow burn that I was just like, I also sort of this is the thing with television shows, is life just gets in the way and you get distracted by other
It's a big
things.
dedication.
Yeah. And I sort of my brother got me into Yellowstone, and that I just went down.
Nice.
I just went down the Yellowstone, the Yellowstone.
I've only seen the
whole-
first episode. I don't know if Yellowstone is for me. I feel like
It's not going to be for everyone.
Yeah,
but it's,
I did really enjoy that opening scene of what's his name, Kevin Costner,
Yeah.
right? With the horse. And
Yeah.
he had to shoot the horse.
yeah,
If the show would have kept that going the
Yeah.
whole time, I would be super into it.
yeah.
But it gets so like soap opera.
It definitely is fair, and particularly I'm hit and miss on Beth.
That's his daughter.
Yeah.
I don't like her. I didn't like her in that first episode. That was my biggest takeaway. I was like, I don't like her.
There are times where I think she's great, and then there's times where I think the actress way overacts the thing.
Yeah.
But I'm on the Sheridan train. Tulsa King was great.
I haven't seen that, but that's one I definitely want to watch.
And if you're into Stallone, like Stallone is great. He's still got it, man.
Yeah. He is great.
Yeah, and I guess like I hope to see Brendan Fraser more in things
Dude,
now.
he would be great in a Taylor Sheridan show.
Yeah. I hope as much as I rail on sequels, I would love a good Mummy 4.
Oh yeah. Well, do you do straight up the Mummy 4 and just skip over the fact that the Mummy 3 happened? How do you play it? Because you got to bring back the guy who plays Emotep. You got to bring back.
I don't know that you need to bring back necessarily. So here's how I would play it. Because the original Karloff Mummy, I would go back to the source material. Basically, the Karloff Mummy was a one-off. That one never got a sequel. The next time that they did a Mummy film, it was, I believe, The Mummy's Hand, and it was a straight-out reboot. And it was a different mummy, different Egyptian princess.
Yeah.
So if it were me, I would do some sort of riff on the fact that back in the day they rebooted it and reference the reboot.
Interesting. Okay.
Just as sort of to keep it as we're going back to the source material and where Universal horror started. I would try to find a way to bring that into it, because also like the thing with the Imhotep is Mummy Returns, they really close out his story in Mummy Returns.
Well, you could do the Jurassic Park thing where it's like the first movie, the dinosaurs are villains, but eventually they come back around. It's like, well, Jurassic World, the Velociraptor is like the good guy.
It's like he's
helping.
He's got the bro relationship with the raptor.
Bring him back. It was like the only other person that they could use to.
So they could bring him in with a cameo.
Yeah. Just have some bigger, badder Egyptian pharaoh comes back from the dead.
Yeah, that would be cool. I would be down for that.
Yeah.
But it's got to be, the writing's got to be in point to convince it. But also, Rachel Weisz was in Black Widow, so her standards, I don't know, are as high as they used to be.
With all of this talk of Brendan Fraser too, I feel like now is the time to do it. I wouldn't be surprised if we didn't hear some kind of Mummy news before then.
Oh yeah, I would. Somebody's got to be on that one.
He would do it too. Like, he's been interviewed about it. And he's like, "Oh, absolutely."
He did this sort of GQ video for their site, and he was like, "Oh yeah, like, you give me a script, I'll do it." So it's like, give it, the public demand.
Yeah.
The public demands it.
Yeah.
But that's how I would do it. Is some sort of like reach back to the original, to the original material, and loop it in. I also, the other thing, I think I'd recast the son, and I would make a point to make sure that their ages are appropriate, because one of the things that was really stupid about Tomb of the Dragon Emperor was that, so if you look at the age difference between Brendan Fraser and his son in Mummy Returns, if you fast forward it to when Tomb of the Dragon Emperor comes out, basically it would put the characters, his son Alex would be like 17, 18, and they would be smack dab in the middle of World War II.
Mm-hmm.
So there is so much potential there, yet for some reason they shuttled them past World War II, made his kid like 30. Like, Brendan Fraser looks not remotely old enough to be this kid's dad.
Yeah.
And then again, it's like, Rachel Weisz is not in the thing. It's just this bad decision they could make, they made.
You know what they could also do? They could set it in South America and do something with like the Aztecs or something along those lines.
Yeah, there's a ton of there's a lot that could be done, and it would be good. It would be good to get O'Connell back again.
Yeah.
And just, again, just like prove that you can. Like, it's the one thing I want from Hollywood: prove you can do a good old classic fun movie that doesn't have a stick up its butthole.
Yeah.
Which is what it's brilliant. It's just that's what I love about it. It's just pure escapism.
It's from another time.
Yeah, and it's like you've it's everything you could want out of a movie, and again, sort of like the aggravation that I have with modern movies is that everybody, like, the sort of like, including the sort of inclusion, diversity stuff, that's all well and good, but that can't be the point. The point is, I gotta like the character. And another 90s movies I love, Men in Black.
Fantastic movie.
Will Smith is the lead. Like, there's Tommy Lee Jones, but Will Smith is
the lead 100%.
And it's not really made of, like, the fact that he's black, like, that's a non-factor. He's just a cool guy.
You know what's super messed up? That they are, they're rebooting the DCEU, which is fine, but they're doing like a DC Elseworlds with a black Superman. It's like, no, just make Superman black.
Yeah, well, because if you want it, because I think you could do, because I do think you could do black super. Just make Clark Kent black.
100%.
But it doesn't.
I feel like it's super derogatory for them to be like, we're doing a white Superman movie, but also a black Superman.
Yeah,
just make him black.
Yeah,
there's nothing wrong with that. Cast Michael B. Jordan as Superman.
Because the important thing to me about Superman, he stands for truth, justice, and the American way. That's the important thing about Superman. What is what he looks like is not really important to me.
Plus, he's an alien that's crash landed from another planet. You can make him any ethnicity, race, whatever that you want.
Yeah, he's from Kansas.
Yeah,
he is,
and he's on a farm.
He's an American farmer from Kansas.
Yeah,
that's it. His race has nothing to do with it.
I am excited for some of the DC movies that are coming out. Like, they're doing Swamp Thing. That could be kind of cool.
That'll be good. Joker 2 is going to either be brilliant or an utter disaster.
I appreciate the big swing, though. Because how do you follow up Joker without a big swing like that?
Yeah, and Lady Gaga as Harley Quinn is going to be real.
It's going to be. It was a good casting. I'm curious. I'm not a big fan of Lady Gaga's music, so I'm curious to see if it's going to be what the music is going to be like.
Yeah.
I think they should lean into like rock music, make it like a rock opera from the 70s.
Yeah.
That to me, take my money.
Yeah.
It's super badass.
It's gonna be totally wild. I have no idea what to expect out of it. And then
But that's exciting though to me.
yeah. Which is I mean, that's what you want. That's what you want. That's what you want in a film, is to be like, what am I walking into?
Yeah.
And Joaquin is great. The talent,
And he could sing as
yeah,
well.
yeah.
He was Johnny Cash.
Walk the Line is
He was great.
I think my favorite biopic.
Yeah.
Which I did see. I did see the Whitney Houston biopic.
Yeah,
it was
I didn't see it.
It's. I think it's hard to when the ending is like, that it doesn't end well. It's hard. It's hard to have. I think what helped Walk the Line is that he went through all his issues and then he turned out okay in the end. And
he lived a long, full life.
Yeah.
He didn't die like tragically.
Yeah, like it's
very
in his like
40s or 50s.
Yeah, it's like the movie, like the Whitney Houston biopic, it kind of just stops, and it does some interesting things in terms of it's really talent being used by other people, but it doesn't. It needed more of sort of the bell curve to bring it down.
Yeah,
but so I think we should probably start winding it up. Any other comments, mummy related?
I'm all for the Mummy 4. Bring it on. I want to see it. I want it to happen.
Yeah, somebody at Universal, get on it.
And not only that, here's what else I'll say. You want to make a Marvel like a Marvel-esque cinematic universe for Universal? Rick O'Connell is the hero. He's your Captain America.
Is he your Captain America?
Yeah.
All right, I'd buy that for $1.
And have Guillermo del Toro as the one who's overseeing everything.
Yeah. Well, you know what he wanted to do because they were talking to him about it. He wanted to do it all period pieces.
Yeah.
Which is
he wanted to do Justice League Dark, right?
Yeah. And it's man, like, that guy has gotten sort of screwed out of so many different, there was the Justice League stuff, The Hobbit he was supposed to direct, and they just give Guillermo a franchise that he can, and Universal Horror would be.
Yeah, it would be right up his alley.
Yeah,
it would be perfect.
And he's got just the visual, the visual flair.
Yeah. Plus, he understands the practical effects.
Yeah, he does. Yeah, that's another thing. Like, Guillermo does not abandon the practical effects, which is fantastic. All right, so where can people find you?
You can find me. You can find my podcast, the Poptimist Podcast with Taylor Berryman. You can find it streaming everywhere. I also have music out. Something we worked on, actually, Lost in a Glimpse, the short film, the 48-hour film festival film that we did. I did the soundtrack for that, the original soundtrack. That's streaming everywhere now, and I got more music coming.
Awesome.
And also find me on Instagram as _Poptimist.
Yeah, and I'll drop a link to Lost in a Glimpse below. Check that out. It was a really fun movie with a lot of really great talent on it. You can find, Taylor did the music. Michael from the last episode, you can find his great performance in it and see a lot of our other great actors in there as well. You can find me at Cortoberfest on Instagram. I post movie reviews and all that stuff. And if you haven't seen The Mummy, you need that joy in your life. Go watch it. And we'll see you next time.
See you next time.